The president's former campaign manager, Cory Lewandowski, testified before the House Judiciary Committee for nearly 6 hours, and testified maybe should be in quotation marks. He said stuff out loud. Some were answers to questions, others not so much. He stonewalled about his interactions with President Trump and potential episodes of obstruction that were clearly laid out in the Mueller report.
Congressman, the White House has directed I not disclose the substance of any discussions with the president or his advisors to protect executive branch confidentiality. The White House has directed not disclose the substance of any discussions. The White House has directed not disclose the substance of any discussions with the president. The White House has directed that I not disclose the substance of any discussions with the president or his advisors to protect executive branch confidentiality.
Cory Lewandowski repeatedly cited executive privilege to dodge their questions, though he did choose to answer some pivotal ones. And joining us now is Cory Lewandowski. Good morning, Cory.
Good morning to you.
Okay, did you accomplish what you set out to do yesterday?
Yeah, my goal was to show up and answer the questions that the House requested under a congressional subpoena. And Allison, I've been very clear about this. I've now testified in front of Congress on 4 separate occasions, spoke to the special counsel's office on 2 separate occasions. They could have just asked me to come, and I would have been happy to do so. They chose to subpoena me and change the rules last week.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry.
I was still there.
You said that you accomplished your goal to answer their questions, but you didn't really answer many of their questions.
I answered every question that I had the obligation to answer.
Well, you said you couldn't answer it. You actually cited executive privilege many times.
But that's not my privilege, Allison. I don't have the privilege. I'm not the chief executive officer of the United States. And so it is his privilege and the White House's privilege, and they've notified the committee that they are preserving that right under the Article 2 of the Constitution, and they asked me to respect the directive of the White House, and so I've done that. Now, if the Judiciary Committee takes exception with what the White House has asked for, there's a third branch of the government called the judiciary. They can go and litigate that through, which they are doing as it relates to Don McGahn. But it's not my privilege to waive.
Do you think you'll be held in contempt?
In contempt for what? Coming and answering questions?
Well, you didn't answer the questions. I mean, the truth is, Cory, you answered some questions, but you didn't answer the majority of the questions. And, you know, our legal experts this morning, hold on one second, just let me get you to respond to this. Legal experts this morning say that it's preposterous.
You just mischaracterized saying I didn't answer the majority of questions. You and I both know that's not an accurate statement. You and I both know that I did answer the majority of their questions. And what I said was anything that pertains to the campaign, the White House has allowed me to answer. Anything that's in the Mueller report, I've been allowed to answer. Anything that pertains to private conversations with the president or his senior staff, the White House has asked that I exert the privilege so that if they choose to use it, it has been preserved. So please don't mischaracterize and say I didn't answer the majority of their questions, because you and I both know that's not factually accurate.
Well, I actually haven't taken a tally, Cory, of how many questions you didn't answer.
Then don't make a statement,
Cory,
Allison.
Let's not get into this
No, it's not fair. It's not fair to say something if you don't know it to be factually accurate,
Cory,
like that.
We have an entire montage of you saying, I can't answer that, I can't answer that, no, I won't answer that,
And you think that was the majority of my answers?
Cory, the point is this. You cited many times executive privilege, which legal experts this morning say is preposterous because you weren't discussing military secrets. There's no precedent for citing executive privilege for what you all were talking about.
Allison, you're welcome to have someone from the White House to come on, specifically the White House counsel who wrote the letter to the Judiciary Committee and to my counsel that said, we're asking you to preserve the right of the executive branch to hold executive privilege. But Mr. Lewandowski, it's not your privilege to waive. Just like attorney-client privilege is not the attorney's privilege to waive.
Okay.
It's held by the stakeholder.
Okay,
and I am not the stakeholder.
But my question to you was, do you think that you will be held in contempt?
I don't have any reason to be held in contempt, and I've told the members of Congress I'm happy to come back and answer more questions if they need me to after the 5 or 6 hour charade that I went through yesterday.
Okay. There were a couple of moments that have gotten a lot of attention, so let's just go through them and maybe you can further expound on them. One of them captured the moment about obstruction, frankly. This is the moment where you were describing how, or they were asking you, I should say, about how the president asked you to deliver a message to Attorney General Jeff Sessions where he would unrecuse himself and limit the scope of the Mueller investigation. So let's just listen to this for a moment.
That's what he wanted you to deliver to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, correct?
I believe that's an accurate representation.
And he wanted you to deliver it to Jeff so that Jeff could say it to the people, right?
I believe so.
So you confirmed that you were asked to obstruct justice.
No, Allison, please. That's not what I confirmed at all. By the way, the Mueller report was very clear. There was no collusion. There was no obstruction.
That's not what the Mueller report said, Cory.
It absolutely says that. And
Cory.
you should read the page that states that. And Bob Mueller
Wait a
had the
second, Cory.
opportunity
Hold on a second.
to
Hold on a
testify
second.
to that.
Time out. Did you read the Mueller report?
No, I never did.
Then how do you know what it says?
Because the members of Congress were very clear about what was in that report yesterday. And so I'm reiterating what they stated.
No, Cory, sorry.
Did you read the report?
Cory, of
Allison,
course I had to read the report.
You read the entire report?
Cory, of course I had to read the entire report. And let me tell you what it said.
Tell me.
There were 10 different examples of obstruction of justice in there.
That's not what it said. It did not say there were 10 examples of obstruction. Allison, you're being disingenuous.
Cory, here they are. Let me pull them up on the screen for you since you didn't read the Mueller report.
Put the Mueller report
so
up on the screen, please.
Here we go.
That's not the Mueller report,
Here are the
Allison.
examples.
Allison,
when the
that's not the
president
Mueller
asked
report.
Comey to let the Flynn investigation go. When he tried to stop Sessions' recusal. That's the one that you were involved in. You may want to read that part. When he fired Comey. When the president tried to remove Mueller. When the president tried to get Sessions to limit the probe. That's another one you were involved in. When he obscured the purpose of the Trump Tower meeting. When he asked Sessions to reverse his recusal. Asking him again to deny attempts to remove Mueller. Trying to influence cooperation of witnesses, including Flynn, Manafort, and Cohen. Those are just some of the examples that scores of legal experts say are obstruction of justice.
How can legal experts make a determination when they're unfamiliar with all the facts of the case? That is so disingenuous to go and make a predetermination as a, quote, legal expert without having the opportunity to hear both sides of the case. How is that not a predetermination against this president?
Because
it's
it lays
very
it out,
disingenuous.
Cory. It lays it out in the Mueller report, all of the examples that any regular citizen would have been charged and convicted of if they were not a sitting U.S. president. You know that part, right?
I don't know that to be true. What I do know is that Attorney General Barr, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, decided that there was no obstruction. And I believe in Attorney General Barr, unless you're saying that Attorney General Barr is not a qualified, competent individual, that he and the Deputy Attorney General, who Bob Mueller presented their case to, made the determination. Are you calling into question their credentials?
What I'm saying is that
Well, you're saying scores of legal experts.
Cory, what I'm saying is that 1,000 former federal prosecutors, Democrats and Republican, a bipartisan group, signed a letter saying that there was evidence of obstruction of justice and that any regular citizen would have been charged and convicted of it from what
So are
they
you
saw
calling
in the
into question the credibility of Attorney General Barr and saying that he wasn't qualified to make
Cory.
the decision?
Cory,
Because he
I
is
already
the
answered
Attorney
question.
General.
Cory, here's the thing. When you confirmed that the president asked you to do that, why didn't you do that? If you didn't think it was wrong, why didn't you do what the president asked you to do?
Allison, I was very clear. I took my children on vacation, and you understand the priority of spending time with your kids, I'm sure.
How
so
long
that's
did
what
you
I
go on
did.
vacation for?
I was on vacation for weeks, but I don't live in Washington, D.C.
So, but before that, did you talk to the president? I mean, did you talk to Attorney General Sessions before you went on vacation?
Look, I was very clear about that. I had a conversation with Jeff, and then I didn't see Jeff, and I never delivered the message because I took my children on vacation.
But then
and
how
if
about
that's the
after
crime,
you went on vacation?
Allison,
You could have
if it's a
talked to him
crime to take
afterward.
my children on vacation, I'm guilty as charged.
Cory, you didn't do it, and you didn't do it because you must have thought it was wrong.
Allison, I didn't think anything was wrong. The president never asked me to commit a crime. He never asked me to do anything
Yes,
wrong.
he did, Cory. We
He
have
did
it right
not.
here. You admitted it yesterday. Why are you not admitting it today?
I admitted that he
it
never asked me
yesterday.
to commit a crime yesterday. You're absolutely right. I did do that. I admitted yesterday that the president never asked me to commit a crime. I concur with your decision. Yes, that's
Cory,
accurate.
Asking the Attorney General to limit the scope of an investigation that the president is being investigated for is a crime.
Allison, we're talking about a hypothetical conversation which never transpired
This
with
isn't
the Attorney
hypothetical.
General and a meeting which never occurred. And instead I went on vacation. So you can get all worked up in a tither about a conversation which may or could have potentially occurred, but it never did. I never met with Jeff.
And why didn't you do that?
Maybe you didn't hear me. I took my children on vacation.
Why
and again,
didn't you
if
meet
that's a
when you
crime,
got back from vacation 2 weeks later? Why didn't you meet with him?
because I don't live in Washington. I wasn't here.
Okay.
I was home in New Hampshire.
Got it. There's another moment that has gotten a lot of attention. where you basically admitted the conditions with which you tell the truth. So let's play this moment.
I'm a truth teller every time I stand before Congress or a committee of jurisdiction and raise my hand and swear to God under oath.
My question, sir, is when you said the president never asked you to get involved with Mr. Sessions.
I have no obligation to have a candid conversation with the media whatsoever, just like they have no obligation to cover me honestly, and they do it inaccurately all the time.
So you're admitting that on national television you were lying there.
What I'm saying is they have been inaccurate on many occasions, and perhaps I was inaccurate at that time.
Okay, so Cory, just to be clear, you only feel the obligation to tell the truth when you're under oath.
Which is clearly more than some of your contributors. As you know, Andy McCabe, who has a criminal referral, who's a CNN contributor, was not accurate under oath. He has a criminal referral for lying to the FBI, to lying to the Inspector General on 3 separate occasions. But Allison, you and your network continue to use him as a contributor who has been lying under oath.
And
so if you're going to hold me to a standard, hold your same employees and contributors to that same standard. I have no criminal referrals.
Question.
Allison, excuse me. Excuse me.
Cory.
I should be held. I'll be happy to answer your question, and I'll be held to the same standard as the employees and contributors to CNN, which means when I am under oath, I will tell the truth. That can't be said the truth as James Comey or Andrew McCabe, who's employed by CNN.
Great. Cory, we are happy to have lots of other segments about that. But I'm talking about you.
Let's talk about that segment.
Cory, I'm talking about you.
Right,
you
and I'm
only
talking about your
feel obligated
network.
to tell the truth when you're under oath.
No, what I said was I never lie under oath, unlike your contributors.
No. What you said is I have no obligation to have a candid conversation with the media whatsoever. So you lie to the media.
Your contributors lied to the FBI.
Cory, I'm
Your
asking
contributors
about
have
you.
criminal referrals, and you continue to employ these people, Allison. He was
Cory.
the former deputy director of the FBI, and Inspector
Cory,
General
I understand the
Horowitz.
deflection. I get it. I understand
Inspector
that you don't
General
want to answer
Horowitz
this,
has
but I think that
referred
this is
him for
important,
criminal
Cory.
referral for
Cory,
lying under
I get
oath.
it.
We call that perjury.
Right. Cory,
and
and
you
I know-
continue to employ him.
Hey, Cory.
How can you justify that,
Hey,
Allison?
Cory,
How
know
can you
what
justify
do.
continuing
Hey,
to
Cory, you
employ
need to let me
someone
get a question in,
who's been accused
okay?
of perjury?
Cory, if you want to ask the questions, you can become a journalist yourself.
Well,
since you seem
are you a
fascinated.
journalist or are you not? I mean, is that what you
Cory,
are? Are you a
hey,
journalist
Cory, listen,
or you're a
let me tell
talking
you
head? Which
something.
one? Because
Cory,
I'm happy to answer your
hey,
questions
Cory,
if they're
you're
honest and
not
truthful.
You're listening with your mouth. And what I want you to listen to is, this is important. Do you lie
I've
to
answered
the
your
media?
question, Allison.
What is the answer, yes or no?
I've answered your question.
Yes or no?
I'm as honest as I can be, as often as I can be.
What does that mean?
Which part of that don't you understand?
When you lie, Cory, when do you lie? Are you lying now, for instance?
I'm as honest as I can be with you, Allison.
Cory, that's not good enough. That's
Allison,
not good enough.
again,
you
if you'd let me answer the
told
question,
Congress
I'm
under oath
happy-
yesterday that you only feel obligated to tell the truth under oath. And the reason this is important.
Do your contributors tell the truth under oath?
Hey,
Because I
Cory,
don't think they
the
do.
reason this is important is because
So don't hold
we
me to a
need to
different
know
standard.
when you're
Allison.
lying and when you're not, and when the administration is lying and when
Allison,
it's not.
I don't work
How
for
can
the
we
administration.
trust the-
I
Cory,
don't work for the administration,
You
so
have
let's
been
just
very
be clear.
close to the president.
Allison,
You were part of the campaign.
please stop being dishonest.
How can we
Please
know
stop being dishonest.
when the
Number one-
president and when the
number one,
administration
I don't
is
work for the
lying?
administration.
Since you proudly say,
Allison, you're welcome to call the White House and ask for an interview with the president so you can ask him those questions.
Yeah.
I don't work there. Just
Got
like
it.
I don't hold you accountable for the things that are said on other networks. I don't hold you accountable for the lies that your contributors have gave to the Inspector General.
yeah, you
and they're
actually
under
are trying to
criminal
hold,
referral.
frankly, you actually are trying to hold me accountable for that. But here's
Okay,
the other
I
reason
don't
that
work
it's
for the
important.
administration.
Got it. Understood. Here's the other important part. You are running for Senate in New Hampshire. Is that right?
No, again, Allison, you're being
I'm
disingenuous.
asking, are you
No,
running
you
for
didn't.
Senate?
You just said you're running.
Because
That's
I think
not a
you
question.
just said that I think on Fox and Friends, you just said that you are very close to announcing a run.
Allison, there's a difference between saying I'm close to making a decision, which I said I would do in October, and you stipulating that I'm running for the U.S.
I'm asking
Senate.
you a question. Are you running?
I haven't made that determination yet.
Okay.
I've been very clear about that.
Very good. Fair. Good. So you haven't made your decision. That's all I
But
want
if you
to know.
want to go and
No,
support
what
me,
I want to
call
know is
standwithcory.com.
Hey, Cory.
If you want to go and support me, go to standwithcory.com.
Wow.
And I'll be happy to support you.
That
You can
sounds
support me.
like somebody who wants to run for Senate.
Hey, I didn't say I didn't want to run. What I said was I will make a determination in October if I'm going to run.
Got it. Cory, listen, because you say I'm as honest as I can be, and I think that that's an important thing for voters to understand. How will voters in New Hampshire know? If you run for Senate, how will they know when you're being honest?
Allison, the people of New Hampshire know me. They know the fake news that covers me. They know the fake stories that have come out about me, but they also know I'm a resident of the state. They know I've been a resident of the state my entire adult life. And what they do know about me is that when I believe in something, I'm going to fight for it. Yeah. And I won't allow people to continue to impugn my integrity by putting false statements in my voice about me that are completely inaccurate. Okay. So if I decide to get into the U.S. Senate race, the people of New Hampshire will have that opportunity to decide if I should represent them in Washington, D.C. Of course,
absolutely. Absolutely. Have you spoken to the president since your appearance yesterday?
Look, Allison, as you can respect, I wouldn't disclose a private conversation if I had one with the president or not.
No, I mean, I don't need to know what you said, but have you spoken to him?
Again, I'm not going to disclose if I spoke to the president. I think that's out of bounds, and I don't think any journalist would go on air and talk about a private conversation they may or may not have had with the president.
Do you know how the president felt about your appearance yesterday?
All I know is what he's tweeted, which I think you have probably have the opportunity to post on your screen from his recent Twitter account.
Okay, Cory Lewandowski, thank you very much for attempting to explain how you approach the truth, how you approach your job and the future. Thank you
and
for being here.
Thank you for trying to cover me fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Well, that was interesting at the end. Thank you for trying to cover me fairly.
I do try to cover him fairly. Absolutely. He's right about that.
I was listening with my ears as opposed to my mouth there.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Wow. All right.